Hi, I'm Jill Snitcher McQueen, Executive Director of the Columbus Bar Association. Welcome to Understanding Ohio Law. Today we're here talking with Angie Lloyd, who's the Executive Director of the Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation. Angie's going to help us understand a little bit more about their role in funding for legal services and legal aid throughout Ohio. Hi Angie, thanks for being here today.
Hey Jill, thanks for having me.
Can you first start just by telling folks what exactly the Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation is?
Thanks. So the Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation is a nonprofit foundation charged with improving access to justice and making sure legal aid is around to provide services to low-income and underserved Ohioans.
So give me some examples about who that covers. What are the kind of individuals that you're offering assistance to?
Absolutely. So legal aid, I think, is really an unsung hero. They help our neighbors and our other folks in the community. For example, Mr. and Mrs. Smith live in Southeast Ohio. He is a military veteran, and they were chugging along doing great, lived in the house for years and years, and poor Mrs. Smith got sick, had lots of hospital bills. They got behind on their mortgage, and in fact, the bank started to foreclose on them. Didn't know what to do, went to legal aid. Legal aid helped them renegotiate their mortgage to an amount that they could pay monthly as far out as they need to go, and allowed them to start to pay down Mrs. Smith's hospital bills.
That's a great story. And so you help veterans and the elderly.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit more about sort of the circle of folks you're able to help.
Legal aid serves anyone in Ohio who earns less than 125% of the poverty level. We help people who are victims of domestic violence, low-income children who are having challenges in school, veterans, elderly, just essentially anyone who's got a legal barrier who is income eligible.
Tell me a little bit more. I understand there are some financial requirements for eligibility. Is that right?
So obviously it costs money to provide legal services, but we don't charge the client for the services. So that means services are restricted to folks who earn generally less than 125% of the poverty level, which means for a family of four, they earn less than $30,750.
Okay.
And so for an individual, it's less than $15,000 annually.
And how many people do you suppose in Ohio fit that requirement?
Actually, in Ohio, there are 2.1 million people, so
Wow.
1 out of 5 Ohioans qualify for legal aid services. We are super proud. We served over 114,000 people last year, but sadly, legal aid, because of a lack of resources, turns away 3 people for every one it serves.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and at what cost? How much does it cost to provide these kind of services?
Right. So legal aid, again, terrific value, has a statewide budget of just over $38 million. And those dollars come from primarily 3 sources. About a third of the funding comes through a federal congressional appropriation to the Legal Services Corporation. So again, that's about $12.4 million for Ohio. Ohio then adds on $2 for every federal dollar that comes into the state. The Ohio Legal Assistance Foundation contributed $14.4 million last year, so about 35% of the budget. And then the legal aids and the foundation do private fundraising, and we're very excited. The Columbus Bar, other Metro Bars lawyers do a great job of raising funds for legal aid.
Wow, that's impressive. We're pretty fortunate to have a lot of attorneys here in this community and throughout Ohio who actually also volunteer their services. Is that right? Can you tell me how do you quantify that?
As everyone should, we love lawyers. Lawyers are champions, and we love our volunteer lawyers. Last year, volunteer lawyers contributed over 76,000 hours of free services to legal aid, valuing it over $10 million.
So part of the reason that we're here today is to talk about the funding challenges that are now before the Legal Services Commission through federal funding. Can you outline for us what that would mean for Ohioans?
The current administration, in their budget to Congress, proposed $0.
Oh, wow.
Right. So in Ohio, if you lose a third of the budget, you're going to lose certainly more than a third of the services, because all of the cost is in lawyers and personnel. So it's going to be a real challenge. We could see office closings, we could see layoffs of lawyers at legal aid, which again means that 114,000 number will drop dramatically.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So what can we do? What can our viewers do to help fill that gap?
More than anything, they can reach out to their local congresspeople or senators and tell them that they value legal services and they would like to see the Legal Services Corporation funded at its current level. Everybody is also always free to donate. More dollars are always better, and those dollars are shepherded carefully and utilized to really change people's lives and for the better. And then lastly, more volunteering is always appreciated. Anybody can volunteer, and Legal Aid does a great job of providing the supports for volunteers so that they can do it easily and confidently.
That's terrific. And I know the Columbus Bar Foundation in particular also helps raise funds for legal aid through the Central Ohio legal community. It's a very worthwhile cause. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you being here. You helped put things in perspective for us and helped us understand the massive impact this will have, not just in Central Ohio, but throughout the state. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, and Jill, I have to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it, for all that the Columbus Bar does for Columbus Legal Aid and for legal aid, and it is tremendous, and the Bar Foundation gift is tremendous. And I also have to say lawyers can also volunteer.
Yes, I like that. Okay, thank
So
you,
thanks.
Angie. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. Funding for legal services is an ongoing challenge, not just in Ohio, but around the country. Here are some resources if you are able to assist.